of the fence. The cars that you see on the other vehicle, that's Mexico. So everything over here on our left-hand side, on the other side of really what's a creek, a lot of the Rio Grande runs underwater because the Rio Grande here basically goes into two reservoirs that give water to both El Paso and Juarez. You saw the Border Patrol Jeep over there on the left, and they keep an eye on people crossing over. There are holes in the fences all over the place, and there's holes under the ground all over the place. And it's fairly common for a lot of the Mexican nationals to come over, work in El Paso a couple of days, and they go back to Juarez, just back and forth. So we wanted to kind of give you an idea of the type of border that we're talking about. And if you see, it's pretty much artificial. If I hadn't told you that that the other side was Mexico and this was El Paso, you wouldn't have figured it out.
Right.
But this is kind of where Mexico meets the U.S. and that's basically the border wall that we've been talking about. Well, of course, and once upon a time, El Paso was one city. It was El Paso del Norte, founded in, I believe, 1561 by Spanish explorers who went on to New Mexico to found Albuquerque and Santa Fe. This right now is the border. You can see the fence right here and see how tall it is. And it basically concrete blocks at the bottom and then the fence on the top with Border Patrol agents patrolling the fence back and forth. As you may know, Juarez is the murder capital of the world. There is a big drug fight going on right now between two drug cartels, and I believe last year over 2,100 people died in the violence between the two drug cartels. The Mexican army has been sent into Juarez. Somewhere like 5,000 troops are there, but they have not had any impact on the violence in Juarez. So a lot of people basically are fleeing both the violence from the narco traffic wars as well as the poverty on the other side of the border and coming over to the United States. So the United States sort of acts as a magnet. And this really is ground zero for right now. The U.S. basically consumes the most drugs of any country in the world. So we buy the drugs and we send dollars and guns to the other side. Okay? And so that's what we're looking at. And that's also the start of the Chihuahuan Desert. This is where the Rocky Mountains end, and this is where the Chihuahuan Desert starts, which is one of the biggest deserts also in the world. And that's why you see that the Chihuahua part of Mexico is very dry, very arid. You can't grow a whole lot. Okay? So it's based more on mining and other sectors of the Mexican industry.
Besides a lot of irrigation.
Right. And there is irrigation. There's been a big fight between the U.S. and Mexico over the water from the Rio Grande. The U.S. farmers that do a lot of agriculture say that the Mexico's diverting too much water from them. If you see on the left, there's two Border Patrol Jeeps, kind of keeping an eye to see if anybody tries to swim across the river. So,
what's the major city in Arizona that they're having problems with?
We're going to it tonight. Nogales, we're going to be there by 4 p.m., which is Nogales, Arizona.
Douglas, Arizona, Nogales, Mexico.
No, it's Nogales, USA. Arizona. There's a Nogales, Arizona, and a Nogales, Mexico.
Nogales.
It's like there's Laredo, Mexico, and Laredo, USA. But there is a Douglas, Arizona. I don't know what the city across from Nogales is. I mean, from Douglas. And they're going to do an action in Douglas Saturday, by the way.
So what's the major population there?
Almost all the border populations, so you'll know. El Paso is like somewhere around 85% Hispanic, as well as almost every border town, because that's who makes up the majority of the population before the war between Mexico and the United States, and now. So, as you can tell, yeah. So, this is what we got in terms of the division between the two countries of Mexico and the United States. And when you hear about immigration when you hear about people crossing illegally and all that stuff, El Paso is one of the was the largest crossing point in the United States. However, after there was, I think it was called Operation Rollback. I think it was called Operation Rollback. They doubled the number of immigration officers here on the border. There are sensors all up and down the river, so anybody crossing will touch the equivalent of a electronic landmine, and it will trigger cameras all up and down the river that will get Border Patrol agents to that location. Of course, the human smugglers kind of know where everything is and kind of figure ways around it. They're pretty creative in their ways. The average coyote, a human smuggler from Mexico, is called a coyote, and most immigrants pay anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 to come across the border to the United States. Many times they're taken hostage if they don't pay the money, or they'll double the cost, and then the families in Mexico or the U.S. have to pay double, or their loved ones are threatened to be killed or abused if they're women. The other issue in terms of the border has been that besides the flow of human beings and drugs, the flow of guns from the United States to Mexico. Almost all drug dealers in Mexico, narcos, are using U.S. made guns, especially military-grade weapons. They love military hardware, and pretty much a lot of times they outgun the Mexican police. And so it's very common for the drug dealers to kill most of the police officers that run into Mexico who have old 38s, revolvers. So they're pretty much outgunned and overpowered. So that's sort of a side issue, but it's kind of interrelated as to why people are coming to the United States and why immigration continues to be an issue here on the border. Okay, our next stop is Las Luces. We're going to have breakfast in Las Luces. We're meeting some people there. Our LULAC chapter, I believe the bishop is going to be for New Mexico is also going to be there. And some people are going to join us on the next bus, also from Las Luces. And then from Las Luces, we head out to Nogales for our 4 p.m. Event. Anybody have any questions? Preguntas? Nope. Okay. Then just to the north is New Mexico. The Rio Grande goes all the way to Albuquerque, and the Rio Grande starts in the Rocky Mountains. Yeah.
Domingo, at 4 o'clock, Rocky Ridge today or?
Today. We're going to the plan is that we're going to Las Cruces. We'll be there probably around 9. And then after Las Cruces, we're going to Nogales. And then after Nogales, we should be in Nogales at 4 p.m. We plan to leave Nogales at around 6 p.m. and go to the Pima Indian Reservation and Casino, which is about 20 miles outside of Phoenix. We're just going to spend the night. My understanding it's an entertainment district. If y'all want to play a little bit tonight, they're in the Pima Indian Reservation. And then tomorrow morning, we have our first, you can sleep in a little bit tomorrow. First of all, there's a 2-hour time difference when we get to Arizona. So you're actually going to, 8 o'clock in Arizona is going to be 10 o'clock Dallas time, for those of you coming from Dallas. Second, our first event is at 10 o'clock, and that's going to be a picket at the sheriff's office, where we're going to do a picket for about 1 hour, and then we're going to be doing, going to the Capitol, where we're going to be doing another demonstration at the Capitol. So that's our agenda right now for Saturday. Saturday. Yeah. Okay.